Hey everybody, Will here from MachineLovUs.com, starting off a new project. This is building out a YouTube analysis system. What we are going to be doing in this data engineering data product series is building a website where you can go and visualize YouTube data, get information about growing your channel, finding out other insights into YouTube using data. So I have about a half an hour right now to get as far on this project as fast as possible. So let's dive right in. Okay, so I started off on this page because this is a FlaskViewJS web application template. I've used this in other series. What this is it's great. We have Flask REST Plus, which is a Python framework that's been expanded to be RESTful. So we can build APIs easily off of it. And we have Vue.js, which is a JavaScript template that's not terrible to learn, not very difficult for those of us who are not very keen on JavaScript. There's a live demo that you can take a look at here. And what is also great about this is that it's easily deployable to Heroku. So what does that mean? That means that we don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about how we are going to deploy this app to the internet. We can just sort of set it up and then let Heroku take care of it. That's what we'll do because we want to take care of the data engineering part as fast as possible. So what you are going to do to get started is to git clone and run through the installation process of this. I've already done that on my end, but this is very easy to set up. You git clone it here, you pip install dev, and then you pip environment into the shell. So down here, I have named this repository where I'm going to be working is called Clout. So here I am in my repository. It has everything I need from that repo I just showed you, git clone. If I go pip and shell, then I get into the shell. And I'm doing it down here because I want to show you that once you have this set up, you just Python 3 run.py, that runs the Flask part of it. And then I think it's view npm run serve will serve the Vue.js part of it. And so you need to start a Vue server, you need to start the Flask backend. But once you do that, you will have the running website locally. This is my running website locally that I just demonstrated on their live demo site. So that's great. I'm calling this project Clout. And right away, you can start manipulating this. I'm not going to, but you can see if this is welcome to your Vue.js plus Flask app. And if you find that text in the JavaScript, wherever it is, there's a lot of things in the JavaScript. I think you want to look in the source. So Clout source. Here we go. Clout source home.vue. Welcome to your Vue.js Flask app. If I change this to welcome to Clout, using the code word Clout right now, probably won't be named Clout eventually, but we'll see. I just don't have a better name for it right now. Names are really hard for me to think about. Okay, so this is something that we could push to Heroku right now, and we could get it live on Heroku, deployed on Heroku. That's fine. I started off this way just so that we'd have a repository. I renamed the git cloned one that I just told you about to Clout. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to remove these other repositories that I have just to get them out of the way. Start getting YouTube data. The process is we are going to grab channel information, video information. We'll eventually store that in a database. We probably don't have time to do that right now. So how do we get video and channel information that we could store in a database to eventually feed to this website? Well, we are going to use the YouTube Data API. The YouTube Data API is very well maintained. It has a lot of great documentation. It has a lot of Python code samples that we can just pull and use. Okay, so for example, this set and retrieve localized channel metadata. Let's just copy this right now and paste it somewhere and see what it does. Ooh. This is doing a lot of things. Okay, actually what I want to do is search by location. So this will search YouTube by a specific location and get specific search results. So if we just copy this, now in this clout directory, which again is just the git clone of the directory that we were just looking at, that GitHub project, I made a new directory called data, which is where I'm going to gather all the data for this. Okay, and I have some files in there right now. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to put in a new file and just paste the information that we were just looking at. Paste this snippet. Okay, so I can call this snippet.py. No, I don't want to call that snippet.py. I'll just call it pasted.py. Okay, so what is this? This is a snippet that we pulled from the YouTube Data API. And what it claims to do is it calls the API search list method with type Q location. So I guess the type is channel or video. Q is the search query that you're going to use. Location is and a location radius about where you're searching. And it's actually a coordinate system. So let's see if we could just run this and see what it gives us. So here I am in Clout, and I should be able to do something like Python 3 data pasted.py and run that. Now I'm on Python 3 and this snippet is in Python 2 something. And so of course what's going to get us into trouble are these print statements that aren't wrapped as functions. So that's one of the things you get when you switch over, transition from Python 2 to 3. You also get errors in the exceptions. So I'm just switching this Python 2-ish code over to something that will be acceptable for Python 3. So again, another print statement. Any print statement that isn't wrapped as a function will give you trouble. Okay, so I got an invalid key, and that's because I don't have an API key. So what you need to do, right? So this developer key here, set the developer key to the API key value from the API's auth registered apps tab. So you need to go here, you need to get an API key for YouTube. Just follow the documentation. You can replace it right here. You can also add it to your as a global variable in a profile somewhere. That's what I've done. So I can get that API key out of the environment. This is helpful so you're not committing API keys to GitHub. You don't want to do that. People will take advantage of that. When I do that, I get these results, right? So I get what looks like some Japanese, and the search query default was Google. You can pass in a parameter. I'm going to call it data science. That should work. I need to do QQ dash QQ dash dash Q. Okay, so these are the results. A lot of stuff on deep learning, etc., etc. What does this get us? Well, using these snippets. And so this is pasted. I'm not entirely interested in getting information by location. So there was another snippet that I took and modified a bit. So in these snippets, there is a snippet for for YouTube's search, for more general searches, and I'm not sure where it is. Oh, it's search by keyword. So take this search by keyword. I just walked you through the search by location. This is the snippet on the YouTube data API that I have taken and modified for myself. So what have I done with this thing? I'm essentially creating a pipeline here, which will eventually be able to get us run in a place that will generate more YouTube data. And I'm not completely done with it right now. So let's see what it does for us right at the moment. So this, instead of entering the, here, wait, let me go down so you guys can see this, because I usually post in the top right here. So instead of, I could do Python 3 data snippet .py --q and then data signs. Let's see what this gives us. So I've built this to give more data back, more metadata about videos. This thing that this data product that we're building in this series will be video based. Okay, so I'm going to go through and live refactor this code now and get it to a point where I could start putting it into a database and then running it regularly so my database fills up with data on YouTube videos. Okay, so just to recap, because I'm moving fast, at least I think I am, I'm taking this search by keyword snippet. I've taken it, I've copied it locally. It gives you back some information about videos and channels and playlists. I want to get it to a point where it gives me data that I could put into a database. So I'm going to start down by the if name equals main, and I've modified this a little bit, so hopefully this isn't too bad to follow along. Let me just explain some things here. So this arg parser, these arg parsers are argument parsers, and so you can enter in, for example, --q, which is the search term that you want to search for, and it defaults to Google, and then --max-results will give you the max results, and that defaults to 25. So if on here you did something like so --max-results, and I put 1, just give me 1 data science video, and that's what it should have done. Now I'm getting a lot more data because I am overriding this. So let's refactor this together. Okay, so I have this response being YSearch, and instead of, you can pass in args.q, which is the query that we are passing in, and then args. Let's say max results. Wait, let's see, args.q, args. What is it? Max-results. That doesn't seem right. What am I missing here? Args.q. Let's change this to max n. Args.maxn. And let's see if that works with 1. So it should give me an error because I changed the max results to max n. So let's see. Okay, so that looks like it did give back 1. So this one video has an ID. It has a title, what really is data science. It has a description. It has a thumbnail. It has the kind of thing that it is. An e-tag, page info, items with view count, like count, dislike count, favorite count, comment count. Okay. Let's keep going. So what I do is I use this YSearch. So what is this YSearch? Let's take a look at it. So I have refactored it to be just getting this YouTube object. So if you go and look back at that snippet, you'd see how to create YouTube. I think it's all lowercase in that snippet. I just make it a global variable and put it into a config file so I don't have to build it right here. Then you search YouTube using the term. You need this part of the API call, and you need to pass max results there. And then you execute the search using the API, and you get and return a response. So that's what YSearch does. It does one thing, it does it very well. Okay, so the next, so we get the response, the search response from here. I added an optional date. I'm not sure we're going to use that yet. Then we get videos. So videos is from Y videos, and it takes the search response. Okay, so in the search response, you have items are returned. Okay, so for each result in the items, we can get, if it's a YouTube video, then I want to get the video information out of it. The video information is this dictionary that has the video ID, the snippet of the title, the description, and then a thumbnail that I send back. Okay, so for every video in the search response, I am going to get that information in a dictionary, Python dictionary, append that to a list of videos in the response, and then return that list. Okay, so that's the next thing that happens. I go to the videos. I send the response to this Y videos. So the next thing that happens, which I'm working on, is getting the video stats. Okay, so for each video that we have information on, let's return some stats. So stats is going to be video stats, and I could pass videos. Now what I might want to do instead is for video in videos, let me just I'll print out the video stats. So the video stats should probably take one video. This is me just thinking and refactoring this off the cuff right now. So it takes a video, which is going to be a dictionary, and it's going to be this dictionary that we defined above. So it has an ID, and it's going to return, let's say it returns another dictionary of data. Okay, so what do we need? So what we need is the video ID, and we're going to get that out of the video stats, which the key is ID here. So this already has a title, description, and thumbnail, but we also want to get more of the, so we use the YouTube search API to search for videos. Now we're going to get the statistics about the videos. Okay, so we pass in the video ID, and now let's pass in another video ID. I just hard-coded this. Okay, so this part gets the statistics. this part gets a snippet which contains metadata. Let's see what we get out of both of these if we just pass in max and 1. So just on one video, what are we getting in? What are we getting? So return data is not defined. Okay, so I have a lot of print statements here, which is confusing what we're actually getting out. So let's return. Let's just return the two responses. One is the stats, and one is the snippet. So let's return stats and snippet and see what they are. And let's not print more of this stuff than we need to so that we can understand what's actually going on. Okay, so this should be all of the data that we can get. Let me make sure that I'm not printing other things. Let me just make sure. Let me just run this one more time for folks. It's this max -- max n. Okay, so this is all of the data that I can get on one YouTube video. So I get statistics, I get the description. There's a lot of information here. I get thumbnails, I get the URL, channel title, tags. All of this is stuff that I'd want to save in a database. All of this stuff is good data that we can use for analyzing YouTube information. So we want to save essentially all of it. So what we need to do is figure out what the keys are being returned here, and then take this bunch of somewhat gibberish looking data and get it ready to send and store in a database. So I am going to leave it here for now. In the next video, what we will do is organize this data into something that we can store in a database, and hopefully actually start storing it in a database and schedule it to be stored regularly. Okay, so follow along, like and subscribe is always appreciated. Let me know what you think. This is just the very beginning, but what we already have is a git clone repository. We have all of our dependencies installed. We have a site that can be that's working locally, and we have the beginnings of getting data from YouTube. So we moved pretty far along already, but follow along on the series. I'm calling it Clout, and I will talk to you soon.